Welcome to the Inside Maumee Athletics podcast, where we bring you the pulse of the Panthers athletic scenes.
Thanks for joining me. I'm your host, Jeremy Schneider. Last week we had a great conversation with Maumee wrestling coach Pete Schlegel. I really appreciate him taking the time once again to be with me. But these next 2 weeks we're going to take it from the wrestling mat and onto the hardwood. This week we've got Maumee girls basketball coach Brad Kuron. Next week we'll have Maumee boys basketball coach TJ Gillespie. Excited to hear what they have to say after both the girls and the boys teams have put together some impressive seasons. Before we get to the interview, let's get you caught up on a little bit of what's going on around Maumee Athletics. Last weekend, your wrestling team was on the road at the Dick Hoover Invitational at Springfield. They finished 9th out of 20 teams, so a great team showing for the Panthers. They were led by Charlie Skeels, who won a championship at the 150-pound weight class, so congratulations to Charlie. Senior Zach Conrad finished 3rd at 138. Brock Sainholtz finished 4th at 132. And we had a couple 7th-place finishes. Evan Black at 113 and Kaysen Brown at 144. Coming up this weekend, the Panthers will be on the road at Lake for the Northern Buckeye Conference Tournament. The boys basketball team had a couple of losses last week, dropping their record to 12-9 overall. They started the week with a 60-48 loss at Fostoria, in which the Panthers were outscored 43-31 in the second half. Dom Polinitz poured in 17 points and 10 boards to go along with 4 assists and 4 steals, and Ben Kubitz had 11 points and 4 assists. Later in the week, the Panthers hosted first-place Genoa, and while it was a great game, the Comets ended up winning 62-53. Walter Plants, who probably should win the NBC Player of the Year, finished with a double-double, 25 points, 11 boards, and 2 blocks. For the Panthers, Dom Polinitz had another great game, 15 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals, and Ben Kubitz added 14 points, 7 boards, and 5 assists. Will Kubitz rounded out the double-figure scorers with 11 points and 2 steals. Maumee closes out the regular season on Friday at Lake, and just this past weekend we found out the tournament draw. The Panthers will host Celina at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, February the 25th, in a sectional semifinal game. The winner of that will go down to Wapakoneta 2 days later in the sectional championship game. The girls basketball team finished off their season with a big 50-28 win at Lake. It makes the Panthers 14-8 overall and 8-4 in the Northern Buckeye Conference, good for 3rd place behind Oak Harbor and Genoa. Myla Jordan had a team-high 16 points. Taryn Pyle had 15 points and 3 steals. And Rain Hurt had a pretty balanced score sheet, 9 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. The Panthers are back in action on Thursday, the 19th, at Celina in a sectional semifinal game. Speaking of the girls' basketball team, our guest this week is Brad Kuron. Now, he might technically be the first-year head coach of the Panthers, but he's no stranger to Maumee or basketball in Northwest Ohio. He's coached more than 20 years at places such as St. John's, St. Ursula, Cardinal Stritch, and he's been a longtime assistant at Maumee, first under Ryan Ozier with the boys, and then last year under Raphael Soler with the girls. They finished 17-7 last year, and Brad's got him going back for another great season. In this conversation, we talk about how his girls have responded to quite a bit of adversity this year, handling increased expectations after last year's wonderful season, and what they can expect coming up in the postseason. Here's my conversation with Brad Kuron. To get started, I want to talk about coming into this year, and you lose a first-team All-State girl in Lucy. New head coach, obviously, and you. And I don't think I would be alone in thinking, okay, this would be Taylor Smith. This would be her time to shine. And then early in the season, she goes down with an injury. And I personally was thinking, what the heck's going to happen to this team? Credit to your girls. Girls like Myla, Taryn, And then Rain. Rain has really impressed me through this, last 3/4 of the season, not just with her scoring ability, but with how she's been able to take control of this team, be the primary ball handler, I believe. Some of her passes, the way she sees girls on the baseline wide open through tight windows, has just been incredible. Can you talk about how these girls have stepped up, losing a girl like Taylor early in the season, and they've really stepped up, and I don't think, at least on game nights, it doesn't look like they've really missed a beat.
No, let's talk about, about replacing an all-state player that's been, the lean-on person since most of these girls got into the program. You need a bucket, Lucy's getting the ball. You need a defensive rebound, Lucy's getting that rebound. And then you lose that. Now, each one of these kids and these girls have to figure out where and how am I going to fit into my new role. And I think that's what took us a little bit of time, of everybody starting to figure out where their role was, what they can do, what my expectations of them are. And then, with Taylor becoming our leader and the girls leaning on Taylor, and that, I think that, Taylor was doing a great job, and that up to the point where she got hurt. The other thing is Jeremy, I think a little bit different coaching style than what Coach Soler had, a little bit different expectations of, where I want things to go and how I want things to be.
Sure.
We're all learning, all for the learning for the girls. And I think they just, I know that they just jumped in with both feet into the deep end and were like, well, these are the standards. His standards are the standards. And we're going to, bring ourselves to those standards. And I think they've done a great job in that. And, you say with Taylor going down, not only did we lose Taylor, we lost Lyric Pratt also.
Okay. Yeah. True.
I mean, so there not only went our leader on the floor and our primary ball handler, but there went either our fifth starter or our sixth player coming off the bench that was instant offense and solid defense. So not only did they have to overcome Taylor's injury, they had to overcome the loss of Lyric. And I feel that Rain has just jumped in and stepped up and shown that she is the future leader of this team and has been doing a heck of a job for us. And that not only in the scoring aspect, but also with, handling a leadership role that has been thrust upon her. And then you take and you look at our second-year player, Taryn Pyle, who was going to probably be our third scoring option, is now our second scoring option, if not our first scoring option on some nights.
Right.
And was going to be either our third ball handler or maybe our fourth ball handler on the floor. And now she's our second primary ball handler to help alleviate pressure. So Taryn has grown immensely in her role and matured. And I couldn't ask much more out of those two guards. But the one that's really surprised me and has really stepped up over the last probably 10 games is Myla Jordan.
Yeah.
Myla's really starting to come into her own, that she's finally getting that confidence to shoot, take it to the rack. She's a solid defender. I would put her on any of the best players in our league and most leagues, and she would give them fits.
Right.
So, I mean, the way these girls have come together in the adversity, I mean, not only did we have adversity with Taylor and Lyric, we've battled illness and, and then, a few other misfortunes that we've had in the last couple of weeks. But the way that they've just held it together and how they, play together is, I'm not going to even say I'm impressed or surprised. This is just what I've expected from them, and I've seen in them from, last year to this year. So I would say I am more than impressed, overly impressed with them, and that I couldn't ask much more from these girls, and they just lay it out there every day. So, I think there's something to be said too for like Taylor and Lyric.
They may not be on the court, they may not be playing right now, but every game, and I'm fairly certain, I'm not at practices, but probably most practices, those two are there. So their voices are still there. You know, when a team goes through, you know, what you guys have gone through this year with, you know, losing Lucy to graduation, losing Taylor and Lyric to injury, you know, the illnesses, some of the other things that have happened throughout the year, you know, teams more often than not are going to like crumble underneath all of that pressure. You know, just one of those things is enough to send a team flying. The leadership that kids like Taylor, even though she's not on the court, you know, Lyric can still influence the team. You know, and you mentioned it. You know, the leadership that you're seeing from a kid like Rain. You know, it's great to see them making buckets and playing good defense. But it's probably those little things too that are even more important. Just that leadership, just those unspoken things, that the bond that they build, the way they can circle the wagons and just, you know, kind of become a unit. That's important too.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor and Lyric are at practice every day. I mean, Taylor not so much participating, but helping with certain drills. When I need the group to get focused, I kind of look at her and be like, look, go get them focused.
Right.
I need them reeled back in. So you need to huddle them up and get them back focused. I said, you know what? You're sitting here. You know what I expect. I need you to go out there and be that leader. Lyric shows up every day. And even though she knows that she's not going to play, she gives us the best look, and that she's every team's best player. It's like, okay, so and so this week we're playing Lake. Lyric is Brooke Wiley, and
right.
She plays the other team's best player, and then I put her out there on Taylor or on Rain and Taryn and say lock them up, because you know they're going to get that kind of defender going into the ball game. They're going to get the top two defenders. So you guys got to lock them up. She does a great job of that, and her positive attitude, and the already talk about next season and what she can't wait to get out there and play with these girls is, you know, really a bonus for us.
That's so important because it's noticeable during games, you know, when the best players are on the best players, and you see kids like Taryn and Myla and Rain, and they don't sweat it. It's not like it's a surprise to them. And that goes back to practice. How much of this success that you guys are having this year, I mean, you're 14-8 going into the postseason. How much of that success happens when nobody else is watching?
That's the success is built here during practice. Their, you know, willingness to work hard, their attention to detail, always looking to get better, asking questions when they don't understand something.
Right.
You know, their ability to lean on one another and not so much lean on coach, where I might be coaching up another player or talking about something else, and the player that's, you know, asking questions is getting a little bit of tutelage from somebody else, and they're able to help out. So, I mean, their resilience to circle the wagons and come in and work hard at practice, and that, I mean, we're down to an hour and a half practices, and I tell them we were scheduled for 2 hours, girls, but I only want to go an hour and a half.
Right.
If we get everything done in an hour and a half that I want to get done, you guys are out of here, and that's a half hour of your time you get back. And we haven't really had to push over that hour and a half limit over the last couple of weeks, because they come in, they get focused, and we get our work in and we get out. And you know, I can see that some of them, I want to say a good majority of them, I can see them on Huddle. They're looking at our opponents on Huddle.
Yeah.
They're watching our games on Huddle to see where they can be better. I mean, we talk about our stats and that. I mean, we don't talk about points. We don't talk about those kind of stats. We talk about rebounding. We talk about our shot selections, our assists, our turnovers, and that, because all those are what equal up to the wins. I mean, so yeah, their resilience to come in and work hard, I couldn't ask for anything more.
You hear a lot of coaches later in the season, they taper off the practices, and a lot of it is we want to save the legs. It's been a long season. We want to make sure that they're still fresh for the end of the regular season going into the postseason. But I think there's another side of that nobody really talks about, and it's the pressure that hey, we've got a short window, we've got to be focused, we've got to get this done, because going late into the season, these games are more pressure packed than they are in maybe November. When you're playing a team like Genoa or Eastwood in February, you're going to be going down to Celina here next week and playing them. I mean, you want to talk about pressure, it's win or go home. So is part of that trying to shorten the practices an idea of making sure they're aware of the pressure and the importance of every little minute counts?
Yeah, I mean, like the talk this week's going to be, you have to, if you get 22 guaranteed nights.
Yeah.
And you get X amount of guaranteed practices. If you want another night and you want a couple of more practices, we have to go out and earn it. And earning it doesn't start on Thursday. Earning it starts Sunday today at 2:00 when we start practice, and we go out there and we start talking about game plan for Celina, their personnel, what they like to do, how we're going to attack things, and start to figure out what the girls are going to be comfortable with running offensively and defensively. And that, so, I mean, yeah, as the season wears on, each game takes on a little bit more importance as you wind the season down, especially this last few weeks is we were back and forth within our RPI, within our little pool between 1 and 2 and that. So, I mean, we started out at like 5th and we moved ourselves all the way to number 1 for a while, and we went back to 2 and then we went to 1 and we finished up at number 2. So each one of those games as we were going along over the last few weeks had a significant amount of pressure on it. And I didn't want to put the pressure on the girls. I just let the girls know that, each one of these games going forward is going to have some sort of say in where we get seeded for the tournament.
Right.
So, I mean, we just need to, get our work in and make sure that we're staying focused.
I want to put a pin in the postseason for just a second, but I want to look back at this season one more time. Was there a point in this season? Was there a game? Was there a practice? Was there a moment when you kind of looked at it and said, okay, these girls got it? Like I know we're going to be good. We're going to be fine. We can win 14 games. This is going to be a successful season. Was there a point this season when you kind of saw that from them?
I want to say after we lost to Liberty Center.
Okay.
And that we lost the game, and I think we'd lost a couple in a row there to the Defiance and to Liberty Center. Right. And those were all games as, you go into the season and you're looking at it and you're like, okay, we should be able to get this one. We should be able to get that one.
Sure.
And we dropped a couple of games. And again, we played 6 games within the first 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
And the girls were tired.
Right.
Not only because of, practices and that, but, the demand at school, the demand at home. Even my demand on them being, the best they can be day in and day out at practice. So they were mentally tired. They were physically tired. And we took like 3 days off and came back, and our focus was there. And, the energy was back, and, we got that win against, I want to say it was against Eastwood.
Right.
Here at home, 65-62, and right then I figured, this team, I think we're getting it.
Okay.
We're getting it. And from there, I think we rattled off like 8 out of 9 wins, and, and really started to see kids grow, such as Myla and Miriam. Miriam was, thrust into a role that, wasn't really the role that she was going to be playing. And that, you take it that Miriam was a starter on the JV team and going to be a tweener kid to just spell minutes between the guards. And Taylor goes down, and now Miriam's a starter.
Yeah.
So now Miriam's got to find herself. And then once Miriam found herself, I think that's when things really started to turn around with her defense and her energy. And even though she's not, one of those prolific scorers, Miriam can get you 6-8 points, and that's huge when in the scheme of things. I mean, so I think that's when that's when they really started to believe in themselves, and they've just seemed to continue to believe in one another, believe in what we're doing as coaches, and they're just every day they just get better at something, and I'm really pleased with that.
Let's look at the postseason draw, and I want to know how this worked out, because we go in at the 2 seed, and I'm thinking, and Cam had even messaged me, be prepared to host a game on the 19th, and all of a sudden we're going 2 hours away down to Celina, and I lived many years down in that Lima area, and I know how those teams are, and Celina is just one of those teams that year in and year out is just a good basketball team. How does it work out that we get the 2 seed and our first game out of the gate is at the 1 seed?
Well, they allowed the ones in each one of the pods that we had this year to pass.
Okay.
And they could continue to pass until they decided they wanted to go on the board. So the way it worked out is we were in pod B. Well, pod C had the first go around, and Ashland was number 1 there. They went on the board. Celina passed. Central Catholic was next. They went on the board. They went back to Celina. Celina passed again. And number 2 in the second pod, Norwalk, went on the board. And they went back to Celina. Celina passed again. Well, then it came to us, and we went on the board, and then Celina went right on the line below us. So the only thing I can come up with is either they didn't want to play anybody out of their league because there was 5 teams in their league in that pod, and 3 teams that were not. And it was us, Lima Senior, and Bowling Green that were not. So by them going on the line with us, it secured 4 out of their 5 teams home games.
Wow.
And that out of that league. So Defiance, the 5th seed, gets to host the 6th seed Wapakoneta, and everybody that's not in their league has to go on the road and travel. So I think that was the thinking behind it, and I'm not sure how that's going to play out in the future, because I've always thought that 1 had to go one place and 2 had to go the other.
Yeah.
But obviously it doesn't work that way, and I will express my concerns to Cam, but so be it. We have to go to Celina, and after that we'll be taking on either the winner of Bowling Green or Lima Shawnee on the road, and then we'll be back home to take on possibly Notre Dame at Northwood. So okay. I'm not really worried about it. I mean, I'm more concerned with our daily routine, considering our schedule this week, considering they got Monday and Tuesday off, a full day Wednesday, half a day Thursday, an hour and 45-minute bus ride on Thursday, and then have to play. So Celina, to me, looks like quite a few teams in our league, especially Eastwood and Lake. And they average about 43 points a game. Their tallest player is 5'9.5".
Oh, okay.
So I mean, they're size-wise comparable to us, and they're comparable to the teams that we've already faced within our league. So we just have to show up and play.
Well, and I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's it. And it's for people like me and maybe some of the parents and the fans to, at this point, carp and moan and talk about the injustice of it all and how it's not fair for these girls to, have won 14 games and not get rewarded with the home game. That's for us. You're right. For you and the girls, this has to be, okay, that's what happened. It's better to accept this reality than be tormented by it. So let's go out there and let's just play the game. Yeah, it's not, I don't think it's fair but I'm not going to sit around. Yeah, I was mad about it. I'm still not happy about it. Well, yeah,
there's nothing I can really do about it except for, take it and use it as fuel for these girls to go down there and, get the win on their court and come home victorious. And, just maybe next time they don't make such a crazy decision.
Yeah. I mean, I just, and this would be a question for the Celina people and their coach and stuff, but, you see a team that's gone 14-8 in a league like the NBC and, some of the teams that you've beaten, and they say, yeah, that's who we want to take on. We're not going to take on, BG or Lima Senior. We're going to take, and I mean, I guess, it's one of those things where, it's the postseason. You're going to have to play the good teams eventually. Might as well get it out of the way. I would be curious to know more Celina's thinking of what they saw and what they thought when they entered in onto that line. That's just it's baffling to me why a coach would do that. But it's neither here nor there, I guess.
I mean, you talk about us being 14-8 and 8-4 in the league. I mean, with the adversity that we've faced all season long, I'm super pleased and that with how we finished up. I mean, that's a third place finish in the league for us. We were picked anywhere between 4th and 5th when the league thing came out, depending on what paper you looked at or who you talked to.
Right.
So to take, I mean, we've got 4 losses in the league, and all 4 losses are the two best teams in the league.
Sure.
So,
and not only that, but I think what did I look up? Since the new year, since everybody came back to school, or you guys are like 10-3 since the holidays. So I mean, you want to talk about a team that's on the rise? I mean, that's you guys right there. That's you guys are a dangerous team right now for sure.
It's I look at it as being dangerous, and people always talk about look, it'd be great to be undefeated, right? I mean, sitting undefeated. But, like they say, you can't go undefeated if you don't win the first one. But where do you want to be playing your best basketball? You want to be playing it right out the gate, or you want to be playing it at the end of the year when it's tournament time and, league standings and all that are on the line? Yeah, I'd love to be undefeated and, going down that road. But, hey, if I have to take us as we're going in as a hot team and we're playing our best basketball right now, that's, that's us. I mean, and that's what I always tell the girls. That's one of the things that I always put on the board. We can't be anybody but ourselves. So just be us.
Right.
And just do what you can do and be you. Don't try to be anybody outside of yourself. And things will be fine.
So along those lines, let's talk about your first year as the head coach. I mean, you're no stranger to Maumee basketball. You're no stranger to Maumee girls basketball. You were Coach Solaire's varsity assistant last year and were very involved in everything that happened last year. Was it a big transition for you to move over to that seat? Do you think it was a big transition for the girls to see you there? What was it that big of a difference for everybody?
I don't think it was really that big of a difference for everybody. I mean, again, you're going to laugh, but I did forget all the little nuances that the head coach has to deal with. Having been the assistant for so many years of just being like, well, hey, you know what? Take it easy, Raph. I'll see you tomorrow at practice. Or,
right.
What are we doing at practice today, Raph? Or whatever, I mean, but, and I mean, even with Coach Ozier was the same way. Like, hey, talk to you tomorrow, Ryan, I'll look at film, whatever. But I don't think it was a big, transition for the girls to see me in this role, especially after Coach Solaire sat down and so many of the girls reached out to me about being the next head coach, applying, them wanting me to, try and, apply and take over and that. So, I mean, that made it an easy decision for me. But, I don't think I don't coach them any different now than I did when I was the assistant coach.
Right.
So
how much does that mean to you to get those phone calls, to get those messages from the girls? Because they know you, they know how you coach, they know your personality, they know what to expect. And for them to say, this is the guy we want, we know him. I mean, that's got to be a great feeling to have those messages, to have those phone calls.
Yeah. When you get kids texting me, can't wait to play for you, coach. Congratulations. It means a lot. And even over the last couple of weeks, the text messages, the letters, the cards that I've gotten. Get better soon, coach. Can't wait to have you back. Get better. Rest up. Goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good group of kids. I mean, this is a very close, very talented, but it seems like a very, character-wise, just a good group of kids.
Oh, you talk about some characters. We got some.
Oh, I'm sure. I think we've all seen the background of the BCSN interviews. I think we've seen that. Yeah.
You talk about some characters. We have our fair share of those, but that's what makes us us. And that I wouldn't trade any of them for anybody. I mean, I wouldn't give them up for anybody else out there. So, I mean, that's what makes this group so special is they're all individuals, but they all work for one common goal.
All right, Coach. Well, that's all I've got for you. I'll let you get going to practice. Thank you very much for taking the time with me. I really do appreciate it. And again, congratulations on another incredible season. This team has been so much fun to watch. It's been so much fun to watch them find themselves and kind of overcome so many of the roadblocks and hurdles that have been thrown in their way this year. And I think that says a lot to the leadership that you and your coaches have and the trust that they have in you. So congratulations on a great season.
I appreciate that, Jeremy.
Thanks again to Brad for coming on this show. I've been doing this for about 30 years, and this really has been an incredible season for the Lady Panthers. You don't usually see a team overcome the type of things this team has overcome and still succeed. These Lady Panthers haven't really missed a beat, and that's a credit to not only Brad and the coaches, but all of these players as well. And speaking of those players, they are now being awarded justly in the postseason awards. In the Northern Buckeye Conference, just got word, Rain Hurt and Taryn Pyle both made second team All-NBC, and Izzy Yancey and Myla Jordan both made honorable mention. So congratulations to those girls. It's great to see all of their hard work pay off with these postseason awards. All right, that does it for this edition of the Inside Maumee Athletics podcast. Like I said at the top of the show, I'll be back next week with an interview with TJ Gillespie, the boys basketball coach. TJ's got that program on the upswing from the littlest kids in 4th and 5th grade all the way up to the varsity program. I'm really excited at the direction this program has taken, and it's no surprise that the Panthers are already seeing success on the floor. So until next week, thanks for listening.